Again, conditions on the general roadways, including the bridges, are going to continue to deteriorate over the next several hours. So those that can stay off the road, the better on that. Our first responders, law enforcement, our partners at the police departments, EMS, and fire will all be out working to keep you safe. I want to thank them for that and for their sacrifices in doing that. Also want to make sure that people know how to get the most recent information on the storm. We've got the Bay County Emergency Services social media sites, but the best way is Alert Bay. We all participate in that and provide information of that, so whether it's a law enforcement emergency or a storm emergency, we're going to be communicating with the public in that manner the fastest. So make sure to sign up for that, and thank you. Mr. Griffin.
I'd just like to echo the sheriff's comments. We advise everybody to stay off the road, do your part, stay home, and be safe. We'll get through this. We've been through worse before, so this is just it's going to be a nasty afternoon and evening, so just stay home and be safe. We encourage that for the public. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Moore, with that, we can take any questions you might have concerning Tropical Storm Fred.
Just wanted to ask if you could reiterate how important is it, your request for people to stay home, because when you have the winds picking up, putting folks out in the elements to respond to any emergency calls.
That's a good question. We encourage everyone to stay home, as the sheriff alluded to earlier. Stay off the roads. That's the best way to keep safe. Stay in shelter. When we have to put our apparatus, our vehicles out on the road during these high wind events, it puts extra stress on the first responders. And if you need help, call us and we'll do our best to get there. But we do encourage everyone to stay home, stay hunkered down until this storm passes.
What type of damage can we expect to see?
It depends. We know that there will be sustained winds around 45 miles an hour. Could have gusts 65, even 70 miles an hour in some places. It depends. The storm has little pockets of strong air or strong winds in it. So we really can't tell at this point, but it would be very similar to the damage you may have from a strong thunderstorm. So that would be my best guess.
And do you have any concerns about possible beach erosion?
Yes, we do. We think we're going to get quite a bit of beach erosion. I think the forecast is for 6 to 8 feet as far as the wave heights, and so this can create a lot of beach erosion. And we encourage people to stay off the beaches. We know everybody's interested in seeing the storm come forward, and come ashore, but they're risking their life when they go out there, because we expect stronger winds along the beaches, and that could be the strongest part of the wind part of the storm right on the beach.
And does double reds right now out in the Gulf kind of reiterate how important it is for people to stay out of the Gulf today? Well,
when we have double red flags, it's no entry into the Gulf. We encourage people to stay out of the water. It puts extra pressure on our first responders, both the sheriff's surf rescue team and ours with Bay County Fire, along with the lifeguards and of the beaches and at the county piers and it's the county parks. So it puts extra stress on our people. We don't want anybody in the water, and if you could, stay off the beaches until this passes.
Just the last thing I wanted to ask, with the timing of the storm, we're going to be dealing with some of the impacts into the evening and the nighttime hours. People can see what's going on in the daylight, but when it comes to flooding or down power lines, how important is it for people to use common sense when we're dealing with this in the dark?
That's a good point. The flooding we expect to be localized and coastal, so the rain event is going to cause some of the localized flooding. The areas that usually flood are going to flood now, 6 to 12 inches possible. And, of course, the coastal flooding from the storm surge. We don't expect a huge storm surge. I think it's 1 to 3 foot. But it could be a factor in the coastal areas, as far as flooding.
Also, I know a lot of people have questions about the bridges in the county. Give us a little bit of information about that.
I'm going to let Sheriff Ford answer that.
So as I said earlier, the Florida Highway Patrol makes that decision. It's not a set miles per hour, as some have said, and I just spoke with Major Cass with the Highway Patrol. It's basically when it's determined through a joint effort by the Highway Patrol as well as with local law enforcement that the bridges are no longer safe to pass. So, you know, whether we get that to that point on this storm, I don't know, but it's more prudent to stay off the roads. Don't worry about the bridges. Stay off the roads. Just because the conditions are going to deteriorate quickly, there will be standing water. You know, people could run into a situation where they get stranded going through heavy water. Ask them not to go through water that's standing because you don't know how deep it is, and you could end up being in a situation where you're stranded and need to be rescued. I want to reiterate something on the double red flags. You know, we anticipate that based on the surf conditions to continue on probably over the next several days, and it is a $500 fine to be in the water with double red flags. There'll be probably a sense of complacency tomorrow as the sun comes out and people want to go get in the water, but just pay attention to those flags. And if they're double red, the beaches or the water is closed to swimmers, and it can result in a $500 fine. So keep yourselves safe, keep our first responders safe.
Is there anything else?
Just wanted to ask, have there been any water distress calls yesterday evening or this morning that we're aware of yet?
I'm not aware of any significant costs today.
Well, we do have our people in place, but we're hoping that folks will stay out of the water, so we won't have to respond. Anything else? That's all we have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.